Welcome to Cult Macabre, a phantasmagoric guide to pop culture's dark side. I'm Richie.
And I'm Lee.
And today we are continuing forth with our Liminal / analog horror series, and we're moving right along with a very, and when I say controversial, I don't mean as in the film is controversial. I mean that it is very heavily divided amongst its audience. We are talking about the 2022 Canadian experimental horror film Skinamarink, directed by Kyle Edward Ball. In his feature film debut, Kyle Edward Ball, much like Kane Parsons on our Backrooms episode, made shorts on YouTube, and this is spawned from his horror channel.
Yeah, his YouTube channel is called Bite-Sized Nightmares, and he would have this project where he would read comments on the videos and then make videos based off of those horrible nightmares that people talked about having. And it definitely took off, especially with that proof of concept Heck that he released in 2020 that led up to Skinamarink.
I know that you were calling the movie by its title Heck, but the way you said it was really funny. You were just like,
Heck.
yeah, about the heck.
Heck.
He did a heck and heck with the short heck. But yeah, that movie, or that short, I should say, kind of gave way to this one. And it was released by Shudder direct to the app, which I remember staying up to watch, when it dropped. And I remember watching it, and this is the only way I actually watch this movie anymore, is in complete, utter darkness with the volume cranked way up.
Yeah, in preparation for this, of course, we wanted to rewatch and refamiliarize ourselves, and I took it upon myself to even invite a friend over for a watching of the movie and had to provide that exact experience. Full lights off, volume cranked up, subtitles on. Now, I will say that there are already present subtitles for this movie. But me being a deaf bitch, I needed more than that.
Well, also the thing with this is that if you don't have subtitles on, you're going to miss lines of dialogue that are there, but they don't even put on the screen. Because that was like a directional choice, I believe, to put just very specific lines in the movie, as it were. But if you put the subtitles on, there's so much more, and you can understand what the children are saying, because some of the dialogue was intentionally muffled. Like if you saw this in theaters, I think that was supposed to be the experience, that some of the dialogue was very much muffled, especially in the beginning when Kevin injures himself and falls down the stairs, and his dad has to call his mom, presumably, to let her know what happened. But we should talk about, what this movie is about. If anybody out there listening to this has not even seen this, we highly recommend checking it out. But if you're here because you're too scared to watch the movie and you want to hear two dumbasses talk about this movie, then you're
in the right place.
Yeah.
I will say that there is not a lot of story here to spoil. It's not really one of those kinds of movies. The best way that I like to describe this movie is completely atmospheric. And when I say the way it was filmed, the sound design in the movie, everything about that was absolutely flawless and completely lended to the overall just terrifyingly creepy vibe. Like when I watched this one for the first time, Richie actually fell asleep on me and I was watching it on my own. And I got the shit scared out of me. I thought about this movie for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, because I'm one of those weirdos that'll put this on as a comfort watch.
But one of the best parts about the movie for me is that the entirety of the abstractness of it is all shot from about the height perspective of a child. Because our two main characters, if you will, are two children, two siblings, a girl and a boy.
Yeah, Kevin and Kaylee. And here's the fun fact, the dad and Kevin are father and son in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And am I remembering correctly that they did not have the children film their lines on set?
ADR was done after the fact in post-production.
Gotcha. I mean, every little bit of dialogue, because there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie, but every single bit of it that you do get is extremely realistic. Not just the way that the kids deliver it, because it really just sounds like two siblings having conversation. It's just flawlessly done. I am so impressed with this movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so the plot of the film, again, for those of you listening out there that haven't seen this and don't want to watch it but want to hear us talk about it, the plot is that these two children, they are 6 and 4 years old, basically are in this house. Not, there's no pun intended with the tagline on the poster saying that, but I mean, that was the trailer too. I don't know if you ever watched the trailer for it. It was fucking creepy. It was just in their house, like over and over again.
Yeah.
It's almost like it wasn't done this way, but I always laughed about that because it was in a world, you have like fucking just the typical movie trailer guy. It's like, in this house. It's like, no, in a world. No, in this house. Over and over again. Anyway, the plot is these two children are experiencing a supernatural phenomenon in this house. And the parents are nowhere to be found, along with many other things in the house disappearing, such as doors, windows, and the toilet.
And toys.
Yeah, their toys like come and go, or they're on the ceiling, or they're on the wall. The children decide, hey man, let's sleep in the living room and play with our Legos in front of the TV, because like that's their safe space.
And they have nothing else. I mean, they're left fending for themselves. Dad, they can't find their dad. They talk about that a lot. They mention mom, but I believe Kaylee says something like, I don't want to talk about mom.
No, she doesn't want to talk about mom.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's a lot of theory to this film as far as, what's taking place. I have a very hard stance on what I think it is, but I am so about all the other theories that are out there on the internet about what this movie is, what the allegories are, anything like that. But like you were saying, this film relies heavily on atmosphere, sound, sight, even, because the way Kyle, planned it was there's a lot of grain on the film, and that is purposefully done so that, it's when you're in the dark or there's, a dim lit thing, you see shit that isn't there because your mind is trying to compensate for nothing being there.
And you're trained to recognize patterns automatically, so.
Right, and I think that is the scariest part, because he did say that his director of photography would know also, but there are shots there is a shot in the movie where there actually is somebody standing in the dark somewhere, but he won't say what shot or scene that it is. And I think that's kind of creepy, because now it's like, if you're like me and you want to fine-tooth comb the fuck out of things, I want to go and see which scene it might be.
See, my rewatches, I've been doing that, but I can't. I'm seeing something everywhere. It's that graininess works so well to just tricking your brain and making you freak out. Taking away someone's sight of something is one of the most surefire way to create an innate sense of fear of that thing. So it really just lended to it so well.
Yeah, and again, not much to spoil about the movie, but I mean, there are key events, I would say. There are events such as when they hear all the furniture get jumbled around, and then there's just that off-centered shot of them staring into the dining room, and the chairs are moved, and one of them is on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that moment that I don't remember which of the children says it to the other, but they were just like, we should be quiet. And it's like, dude, that thing already knows you're there.
It's that weird sense as a kid, something's wrong. You can't put your finger on that. And they're clearly not verbalizing it to each other. They're literally that scared. And there's a couple other scenes that do similar things. Like there's at one point Kaylee goes to her room, and I think there's a doll on the ceiling. Her little brother needs to go pee, and he's so scared he can't go, so they just put down buckets because the toilet disappeared.
Yeah, they don't want to go upstairs because the other bathroom is upstairs, but the one that's downstairs closer to them is the one where it's disappeared. And
right.
I think it's funny because you just see two buckets slide, and you just hear one of them go, gross.
Yeah. It's very real. We also get a disembodied voice, speaking mostly to Kaylee.
Done by Kyle Edward Ball, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Love that. Fantastic job. It is very eerie. Very eerie. There is, every time I was hearing it, it was making my skin crawl. I think you even showed me goosebumps on your arm at one point during a particular scene.
It's the scene where he tells him, when the voice deepens, because the voice does kind of change when it gets a little deeper, and it tells him to come down to the basement. And I'm just like, nah, man, fuck that.
No.
So look,
no.
I'm from the South where we don't have basements because we suck. And no, it's actually because the earth can, the water and shit down here, we can't do basements. The ground is too soft.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So attics are a thing down here. But even going upstairs and them, being up, it's not an attic, but they're too afraid to go upstairs because there's a sequence where Kaylee does go upstairs.
Because the voice tells her to.
Yeah. And I think that if they would have, I think this might be one of my only critiques, really about it, because I think it's a pretty damn good movie otherwise. If they would have kept the tension just like this bedroom scene, I think this entire movie would have been upped by so much more.
You think so?
Absolutely. The sequence is where Kaylee goes into her parents' bedroom And we see Dad sitting on his side of the bed, and he tells her, look under the bed. Like, fuck you.
He's like staring straight at the wall too. Like he's stiff as a board. And poor little Kaylee.
Is he light as a feather though?
Fuck you. Poor little Kaylee. She kneels down and she looks and there's nothing. And she sits back up. And she says, I don't see anything. And then goes back and looks again. And then this time when she comes back up, Daddy's gone. And Mom is sitting with her back to her on the other side of the bed. And then Mom starts talking to Kaylee and says something along the lines of, Kaylee, we love you and your brother Kevin so much.
Well, she gets cut off the first time, and they just pan over to the closet, and then they pan back to her, and she says it again, like, she's like, Kaylee, I need you to close your eyes. And she's like, please.
And her voice, oh my goodness. I love the way that they did the speaking lines. I really do, because Mom sounded so fucking creepy. It was that, like, weird, detached, emotionless vibe, you know? Like, her voice almost sounded hollow to me.
Yeah, because does her voice warp right there? Like, just slightly?
I'm having a hard time remembering.
I think it does, because, like, when she goes into the closet, because remember, like, because she says, close your eyes, and she does, and she opens it, and she's not there.
Yeah, the closet door is open. Mom is gone. But from the open doorway of the closet, we start to hear some, like, whimpering and pained moaning, and then bones cracking very suddenly and abruptly.
Yeah, she says her name like one more time. She
says something's in here. That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah. But when she says her name, she's like, Kaylee, and it's like real fucked up. Then you're just like, oh no, I'm good. I'm fucking done.
Yeah, but she says someone's in here right before all those bone cracking sounds, and then the last frame from that second is this grotesque looking modeled hand that like was jolted out of the closet door and grasped the frame.
It's a blink and you'll miss a moment, because there's actually a really high pitched like sound that happens, and it cuts and
it's just done. And then Kaylee's running downstairs asking her brother to push the chair or the couch up against the hallway to block it. She's terrified at that point.
I would be too. Shit, man.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
But Kevin falls asleep or whatever, and then like she hears it again. And he wakes up, and like all the toys that's where the toys are on the wall, and he's just like, what the fuck? Like he didn't say it, but he's just like, what? And that's when the voice tells Kevin to go into the basement. And this is frightening too. So Kaylee is in the basement sitting cross-legged on the ground, and she has no eyes or a mouth. And it's another one of those like real shrill like sounds and very vivid close-up of her face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this, at this point, is one of the more disturbing aspects of it, because, like, this is when the entity tells Kevin that it wants to play, and all the toys are starting to disappear or whatever, and Kevin is, like, refusing. Well, a drawer winds up opening up, and the voice, the monster, the entity or whatever, tells him to put, like, you hear... This is another reason why if you watch it with subtitles, it'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It actually says something like, retractor knife, you know, like a box cutter knife that you can like click open,
knife sliding open or something.
Yeah, you can hear it, and it, that voice is like, put the knife in your eye, like,
and then it immediately cuts to a child screaming in pain
and very muffled, because it's like the shot they show is like way away from it, and you can hear him like muffled screaming in pain and crying, and then it actually shows like or cuts into the room.
And there's like blood smeared on the television, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's like blood dripping down, which it's wild, because like this is like a point where he calls 911, and he's telling like the operator that he's hurt and feels sick, tells her what happened, tells the operator that there's no adults in the house, and
that the doors have disappeared. Yeah,
dude, it's like, how do you explain like literally any of this shit? And if you're a 911 operator, what the fuck must that feel like? You know what I'm saying? Like, just imagine
getting that phone call. Whew.
Yeah, and especially if the child doesn't know like address, because you got to think this is also we forgot to mention this is in 1995.
Yeah, and Kevin's 4, so I mean, imagine getting that phone call from a 4-year-old. That's insane.
And knowing that something is terribly wrong, obviously, like you got a fucking knife that got stuck in your eye, but like knowing that something is terribly wrong, but you cannot articulate it because you were 4, and you yourself don't even fully like realize the gravity of the situation.
And he's probably in shock at that point on top of everything else.
Yeah.
And that scene, actually, that whole scene gets me every fucking time, because when Kevin drops the phone, there's like an image, I'm going to call it loosely an image, on the screen, and it looks very face-shaped with these bulging, terrifying eyes. Like, it sent chills down my spine the first time I saw it. But when the light clicks back on, you find out it's one of those, like, old school little telephone toys with the big cartoony eyes.
Yeah, the little chatter phone.
Yeah, exactly. Which, for those of us with childhood trauma, that could be horrible in its own fucking regard. But the swap back and forth scared the shit out of me, actually.
Yeah.
Such a small thing that just really got under my skin.
Because what happens is the phone that he's using turns into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you hear him, he's like, you did that. Like Kevin tells him, like, you did that. Like, you know, and then the voice is like, I can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Said, you know, Kaylee didn't want to play, so I took away her mouth and her eyes. And it's like, that's
because she kept asking for mom and dad.
Yeah. Forgot also, I mean, I know I briefly mentioned this at the top of the episode, but Kevin had fallen down the stairs while playing hide and seek with his sister, and like his dad rushes him out to, I guess, the hospital, but then they come home, right? So it's only after these events occur that all of these events are occurring in the house. Now, we'll get into the theories about that later, just, you know, kind of, you know, keep that in mind. But we start coming towards like the end of the film, basically, where Kevin is upstairs and he's holding this, he's got a flashlight, but he's on the ceiling now, like the house is upside down now. What a mind fuck, man.
No, seriously. And all the imagery from those scenes with like the dollhouse and all the toys stacked like a perfect angle on top of them, and you get that long, drawn-out shot of the dollhouse just looking completely desolate and alone and separated in its own little existence. You also get a little title card that says 572 days.
Yeah, and keep that in mind as well. This kind of also ties into some of the theories that are online about it. The kids have been watching these cartoons, right? You know, just as a comfort. And it's these old cartoons that are in the public domain now. And, you know, it's these black and white. You know, when you and I were growing up, you know, we were still getting reruns of like Tom and Jerry and like, you know, that Turner Classic shit, right? We were getting, obviously like Looney Tunes is a thing or whatever, but like we would still like see like Tex Avery cartoons and like Tom and Jerry and then like black and white cartoons.
And Betty Boop and stuff like that. Sure.
Correct. Yeah. And like that's kind of in the vein of what they're watching is like these silly like animal cartoons.
Old school cartoons.
Right. And it keeps looping, this one in particular, and it's this bunny rabbit disappearing, you know,
Presto
over and over.
Chango.
That's right. Keeps looping. So we kind of get the idea that the entity is learning or knows how to loop time, kind of infinitely loop time, or can manipulate things.
Perception of it, one way or another, sure.
So like you mentioned the on-screen text of 572 days, then we start getting these shots of the house, outside of the house. Kaylee is starting to like, she's sitting on a bed. It's like this like faraway shot, but she starts like fading away. And then you see photos from around the house and all these people are missing their heads and they're distorted or they're missing limbs or their faces are washed out. And then like another like really terrifying sequence is like, I don't know if it's like the floor, but it's shown upside down.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you start hearing Kevin like scream because he's like, you know, he sees and hears like a demonic voice that like,
the growling and the laughing. Oh my goodness.
Just talking about it right now.
Yeah, and so we're looking at the floor as our ceiling, and what you're hearing and seeing over and over again is these splatters of blood jolting down the hallway, just absolutely covering it. And then time rewinds and the blood disappears, and then it happens again. And you're hearing Kevin scream and scream and scream. It's, oh man, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, because what's sad is like it's both the children. Because that's another thing. If you watch the subtitles, it says Kevin and then Kaylee, or a younger child or older child, and it's like, oh fuck. So after that, Kaylee asks if they can watch something happy, like literally quote something happy, and then there's like a door, like there's it just appears out of nowhere and it just shows up. And the final shot, I think the final shot might be one of the more terrifying images of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's pitch black. You see the grain on the film, and then you just kind of slowly see this face,
a very pale, featureless face,
and it says, "Go to sleep." Like it just says go to sleep, and you know Kevin asks, "What's your name?" Twice. Like he asks, "What's your name?" Twice. No response, no answer.
End.
Yeah, screen cuts. That's it.
this house.
Yeah, in this house. God damn it. What if they called this movie In This House? So there's a couple of theories on the internet right now and have been ever since. And there's a few of them where one is that the whole film could possibly be an allegory for child abuse by the mom, which, would explain why Kaylee doesn't want to talk about mom.
And why mom is not in the house and they're not worried about mom like they're worried about dad.
Right. Another one is mom has either willingly or unwillingly invited a demon into the home or an entity that actually possesses her.
Mm-hmm. We do see that her figure is used multiple times throughout the movie, not just that bedroom scene, but another one where Kevin's already alone in the living room. She appears like in front of the television with her back to the camera. And I think is gone just as quickly. But I like that theory the most. Like, that's the one that I subscribe to personally, is I feel like mom, whether intentionally or not, invited something malignant into their home, and this entity is just torturing them.
Imagine knowing. You know what I mean? Like, imagine the mom, like, knowing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
I think mom was aware, on some level. I think that when she was saying, close your eyes, go back downstairs, that was her trying to protect her daughter. And obviously, saying, someone's here. I think that was her trying to break through and not quite making it.
Which also is, again, that kind of also ties into like the child abuse thing, because like maybe the children see their mom as like another thing, like kids interpret things differently. Like if you're being abused, like you don't see like your mom or, dad or whatever anymore. You just see this monster.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, especially considering the whole film is basically told from their perspective. If you are a 4-year-old and you don't have the capacity to completely understand a situation, you might see one of your parents just become your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And then tear your family apart.
Yeah. And the other theory that floats around is that Kevin is actually dead and or dying in a coma from his fall down the stairs, and this is his descent into purgatory, or something like that, where everything that's happening to him on the outside in the hospital or what have you, he's having it played in his head, or also that like he's stuck in a nightmare, because like when you're in a coma, like you have the capacity to dream, but you never really truly awake from that dream. And the whole 572 days could be that long. That could be the amount of time he's been in the coma, or that could be the amount of times or days that this entity has been torturing this family. Like that. I like that there is no clear answer to this, and I really enjoy that Kyle Edward Ball has not come out and been like, yeah, no, this is true, or like, yeah, no, this is false, because this, again, is a very experimental project. Part of that is leaving it open to the audience's interpretation, and I think, there are fan theories out there on several films, wherein the director or writer or whoever it is has been like, no, so this is how it is, and blah, blah, blah. And then people still subscribe to the theories anyway.
Sure, yeah.
But I truly enjoy that, much like Backrooms, there's a lot of theory here that is not being revealed.
Yeah, and that's something that you and I talked about. As I mentioned, I love the ending of Skinamarink. I love the ending of the Backrooms. I love movies that do not tie things up in a pretty little bow for the ending. I like just thinking about, you've seen me, I've literally paused movies in the middle of us watching it and be like, what do you think is happening here?
Right.
I love that shit. So that really appealed to me as well.
It didn't appeal to a lot of people, though, which, weirdly enough, like, this is one of those movies where I think you should you go in. I think if you don't know shit about this movie, it's like, it's good. You go in, blind to it. However, because I do know there's people out there that saw this after it getting hyped up, basically, like, oh man, like it's this, and this, but then they go into it and they're like, oh, it sucked.
It's nothing what they expected it to be.
Right. And it's a movie that you need to experience. It isn't just like a film, it's an experience. And not too many films are like that. One of my very favorite movies is kind of like this, is Beyond the Black Rainbow. It is a Panos Cosmatos movie. And if that name sounds familiar to you, that is the director of the film Mandy.
Love Mandy, but I haven't heard of that film that you just mentioned.
Yeah, it was the film before Mandy had come out. It was it's also an experience. I think it's a pretty great film as far as I wouldn't go so far as to call it an avant-garde style film, but it is definitely experimental filmmaking, much like this is experimental filmmaking. This is very liminal, though. I will get to that, where it actually liminalizes, if that's even a word, like it liminalizes your own home.
Mm-hmm. The kids themselves are stuck in an in-between space.
Yeah.
Both physically and I think mentally.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's anything quite more frightening than being somewhere that is supposed to be familiar, but there's nothing familiar at all about it.
And you still can't verbalize or put your finger on exactly what that is.
Yeah.
It's so unsettling. Like, that's my favorite word for this movie. It is completely and utterly unsettling.
I really enjoyed it. I think the box office return on this was fucking incredible. Done on a $15,000 budget, which is fucking shoestring by anybody's, standard. It made $2.1 million back. It's like literally over 100 times its budget.
And I'm loving seeing the continuing strain of YouTubers going out of their way to make amazing fucking art pieces like this. I mean, between Markiplier and Kane and this fella here, like these dudes are knocking it out of the park. I'm so excited to see what we got in the future for us too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Kyle does next. The fact that they shot this movie in 7 days was incredible too.
7 days, my God.
Not only did they shoot it in 7 days, they actually shot this movie in Kyle Edward Ball's childhood home.
So on our grand grading scale, Richie, what are we giving Skinamarink today?
I have to give it like a 3.5 out of 5, honestly. There's some things I would have done a little differently probably, but I believe this movie gets the job done in terms of accomplishing what it sets out to do, and that is to terrify the shit out of you. It also speaks to that childhood innocence everybody has at first. Mm-hmm.
Which makes it even more horrific.
Sure, and relatable, because we've all been there. We've all had some event in our childhood that scared us, and this movie may have brought that back where oh my God. I remember personally, I can remember growing up in the mobile home that we had whenever I was very little, and the hallway was the scariest fucking thing from the kitchen to my parents' bedroom. You go from the kitchen to my room on the left and their room at the very end of the hallway. You pass up the washer and dryer on the left-hand side, and then you pass up the back door on the right-hand side. But their room is right there at the end of the hallway. When you have the lights out and you have nothing but the light shooting through the kitchen area from the living room and lighting just a piece of the wall. No, I'm good. Fuck that. I remember that very, very vividly, being short, and I wouldn't walk down that hallway. I would run. Jeez. Every fucking time I would run because I thought something was there.
You just had that panic there.
Yes. And every time that I watch this movie, that's what I think about.
This is definitely a 4 out of 5 for me. Not only did I just find it enjoyable, I love unique movies like this, and I would consider this quite unique. And I would love any horror movie that actually manages to scare the shit out of me like this did. So that puts it way high up there. I have a lot of respect for this, and I really enjoyed diving into this one multiple times, and this is going to be a yearly watch for me for sure.
So come back next time here on Cult Macabre, where we continue our liminal / analog horror. I think everybody out there will like our choice for the final film of this series for this month. And then in July, we'll be kicking our Summerween month off.
Summerween! I'm so excited.
Yeah, so am I. We'll explain more about what we're doing with that one on the next episode. So be sure to tune in for that one to listen to that conversation and then find out more about what we're doing in Summerween. But until then, for past, present, and future episodes of Cult Macabre, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a rating and leave comments on individual episodes on Spotify. And if you're listening to this episode on our YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to the channel, clicking the bell for notifications for future episodes, leaving us a like on this video, or leaving a comment down below. Any engagement helps. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, all of the links can be found in the Linktree link in the show notes below.
So if you'd like to join us for more of pop culture's dark side, sign the black book and join the cult. I'm Lee.
And I'm Richie.
We'll see you next time.